Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding guest this evening, Pastor Angelo Kyle, who's a former commissioner of the Lake County Board, District 14, and now he's a candidate for the Lake County Board, District 14 commissioner. Pastor Kyle is the pastor of the Restoration Church in Waukegan, and I could go on and listen all of the accomplishments, and also he's from great stock. We say he's the son of the late Pastor Jonathan Lightfoot, pastor of the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in Waukegan, and also Mrs. Robbie. Mm-hmm. Robbie Lightfoot, retired from the Waukegan school system. Well, good evening, Pastor Kyle.
Good evening.
I could go on, but this is your program. People want to hear you and not me. So, first of all, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience, and our listening audience is Lake County, which is approximately, as you know, 750,000 people, but a Comcast audience is about 200,000. We air on Channel 17, Lake County, Kenosha County, Channel 4 up there, 14, and also Cook County. So you have some friends in Cook County on CAN TV, C-A-N TV, also be listening. And also, I might just mention that if you have not been known worldwide, which you have, and we're going to talk about that later on, you will be after this program because we're online. They go online and watch the program. So they can see you in Japan, Australia, or what have you. But let's get to why we're here. You're a candidate for the County Board Commissioner, District 14, a seat that you held for 22 years. Yeah. But let's go right to it there. We only have an hour. I know you could talk forever. You wind you up, you go. If it don't wind you, you go anyway, you know. But tell us about why are you running for your seat on the county board? What happened to cause you to run again?
Well, Dr. Brooks, and thank you for the question. Approximately 5 years ago now,
okay.
The county board went through a redistricting process where they redraw the map based upon the new influx of the population of the census.
Is that done every 10 years?
Every 10 years.
Okay.
Right. And so therefore, the individuals on the redistricting committee put myself and my colleague Audrey Nixon in the same district to force us to run against each other. So they do that for two reasons. One, of course, to minimize the number of Democrats on the board, and secondly, the number of minorities as well. And so I opted to bow out and not run against my mentor and the individual that took me under her wing and trained me as to how to be a county board member. Opted not to run against her, so I bowed out to let her have the seat. And then I went on to be appointed to the Deputy Director of Commerce and Economic Opportunity with the state of Illinois. I was appointed by Governor Pat Quinn.
Okay.
And I was in that position a few years, and then, as you know, the state elected another governor, a different governor.
Okay.
And that governor, brought in his own administrative and executive staff as well. And then so I went on to renew my consulting services, and where I do staffing consulting, and I also give corporate markets access to governmental markets, and I do that in a consulting capacity as well. Right. So I am running back for what was originally my seat on the Lake County Board.
Yeah, because you bowed out,
Right.
and so that Audrey Nixon
Could have it.
have it.
Right, correct. So I am running for my seat on the board to reclaim my position on that board and continue to undergo all of the successes that I started with years ago. I had the opportunity to be on there 22 years.
Wow.
Right, so that's why I am again running.
Let's talk about some of your accomplishments. You told us what piqued your interest to run for the county board for this time, but initially, what piqued your interest? You know, there was a history of minority participation. You mentioned Carrie Daniels from North Chicago, and we had in Zion, we had
Sam Payne.
Sam Payne Sr.
Yes.
So those were the two forerunners. But so did they kind of pique your interest to get involved in the county board?
Most definitely. When I graduated from Tuskegee University, my major was political science.
Okay.
And I always had a pursuit for politics, and governmental service.
Okay.
And so when that piqued my interest, when you remember now the former alderman of the city of Waukegan, John Balin, who was also a county board member in that day, and he retired. And when he retired, I opted to run for the seat. And it was 9 individuals running for the seat. And I had the good fortune of winning that election. And that's sort of how my career got started. And you might remember kind of the controversy with Alderman Balin back then. That catapulted me into the seat, that particular issue.
Tell us about county board activities. We may start maybe with the budget. What type of budget does the county board have?
The budget is approximately $500 million.
Wow.
Roughly 500, and it fluctuates 505 million, 7, but roughly $500 million a year. 3,000 employees. AAA bond rating. One of the best bond rating, not only in the state, but in the nation as well. We have received awards nationally for our budgetary process, you know, the efficiency of our budgets. Right.
Now, county board you mentioned was 23 members, and through redistricting that it was cut down to 21, so forth. But you had the distinction of being a national president of county board members, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, well, thank you for that question. I had the good fortune of running for the president of the National Association of County, overseeing the 3,068 counties in the United States, and being the voice of America's counties. And I had the opportunity to win that national election in all 50 states.
Wow.
So I reached the pinnacle of my career in government to obtain the highest office one can reach in the United States as a county commissioner, which is president of the National Association of Counties. I've had the opportunity and good fortune to serve in that capacity.
So you're the only one, and just happen to be an African American from the county
Yes.
to achieve that position.
Yes, from Lake County to achieve that position. Yes, the only one, as well as the only minority vice president of the Lake County Forest Preserve ever in the history of the Lake County Forest Preserve.
Tell us about that. You have Lake County commissioners, and then you have the Lake Forest Preserve, Lake Forest. I mean, Lake County Forest Preserve Commission. But it's the same body. You just got a different
Correct.
charter.
Yes, it's the same body, the same individuals, but it is two separate governmental entities. The county government, of course, is responsible for county governmental services like Lake County Health Department, Lake County State's Attorney's Office, Lake County Sheriff's Department, Lake County Juvenile Detention Facility, Lake County Courts, Lake County Clerk, and so on and so forth. The Forest Preserve's mission is to preserve the environment. The Forest Preserve purchases tens of thousands of acres of land to preserve its natural habitat, to make certain that none of the pollutants, of course, in the environment, to conserve those types of entities, to conserve the environmental nature of the forest preserves. So to protect the environment. Right.
You may want to emphasize the importance of having a culture diverse participation on the county board.
Oh yes, most definitely. Of course, you're always in the minority in both ways.
Okay.
And not only ethnically, but by political parties as well. Okay. So you have sort of a double minority to deal with, and so it takes extra effort to propose products and services that would benefit our community, and to make sure that Lake County government gives access to the same types of services that all other citizens of Lake County benefit from, to make sure that there's equal distribution of county services throughout the entire counties, including our communities as well.
What about District, let's see, it was District 9, I guess you were in before?
12.
12.
I was in
okay.
12.
Audrey's always reminded me of she's 14. She's
right.
higher than yours at 12. District 12, but what are some of the issues that you would work for in District 14?
Well, it is now pretty much the same district. It has been combined. Okay. My previous district and Audrey's district has been combined, and that's when they reduced the number of the county board members from 24 to now it's 21. So they reduced it by 3. So that gave the 21 members a larger geographical area because there were fewer board members. So some of the issues really pertain to, of course, housing. Affordable housing is always an issue, to make sure that citizens have housing stock that they have the opportunity to afford, making sure they can afford to live in whichever community that they want to settle themselves. Also, economic development, jobs is always big, and we have had the good fortune to, in both of those arenas, during our previous stint on the board. With the housing, we redid the entire Hervey Village over there off of 15th and Hervey. sort of one of the blightest, high crime areas. We went in there and we remodeled and redeveloped the entire Hervey Village apartment community over there. Spent several million doing that. We did a $30 million renovation of Whispering Oaks. Whispering Oaks Apartments, which is on Dugdale and 14th right there.
Okay.
I had the county implement a $30 million redevelopment construction of Whispering Oaks. Whispering Oaks, a lot of people think it's North Chicago. It's really Waukegan, but it is the largest apartment complex in the city of Waukegan, over 800 apartments. It was, the Waukegan police said that they get more calls from Whispering Oaks than any other apartment complex in the city of Waukegan. And that now has curbed a bit since we have redeveloped that particular project. Had the opportunity as well with building the Lake County Health Department clinic on 14th and Lewis, having an extension and expansion of our health department services right here in our own community. So had the opportunity to have that built right there on 14th and Lewis, since a great number of citizens in our community don't have insurance. Right. So therefore they utilize the health department, so I tried to bring the health department to them by making sure it was on 14th and Lewis. And then on the Forest Preserve side, you know, of course, myself, I worked with Audrey Nixon to build the Greenbelt Cultural Center, where it is the most visited governmental community center in the city of North Chicago as well. So had the opportunity to do those things. We did Walmart in Waukegan, because that's the county board district as well. It entails all of Park City. So we represented the county on the Walmart project at Fountain Square. We also most recently established Amazon on Waukegan Road, Route 43, right there where the Cardinal Health facility used to be. Now Amazon has a industrial complex of about 500 employees.
Wow.
So we had the opportunity to participate with the development of that as well. And so, you know, I've been committed to economic development, to housing. We've given hundreds of thousands of dollars to North Chicago Public School District as well over the years. And I have been the festival director for Afrofest for 35 years this year, which is the largest one-day minority event in Lake County. The Salute to Gospel Music, I started 34 years ago with the College of Lake County. That concert is now at the Genesee Theater every year. And it's good to see those activities and events that I have started years ago, that they are continuing and they have been sustainable within our community. Yes.
This is fantastic. Well, since you listen to your accomplishments, let's talk about Fort Sheridan.
Okay.
Did the county have a hand in ensuring that Fort Sheridan
Yes.
will stay there?
Yes, we did. We had the good fortune of when the U.S. government was talking about closing, and it was just so interesting at that time, and sudden as well. They were talking about closing Great Lakes and Fort Sheridan at the same time.
Okay.
If you recall those discussions.
Oh, yes.
They were talking about closing both of the bases at the same time. And it was like, you know, Great Lakes was the largest military installation, particularly for boot camp. soldiers coming in, and the highest graduate naval military personnel in the nation as well. And so we had the good fortune to have the opportunity to fly to Washington, D.C. to answer your first question regarding Fort Sheridan. We met with the Department of the Army. We met with the Pentagon. We met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We met with the chairman of the Armed Forces Committee for the United States, which was Senator John Glenn as well. And we asked for permission for the Lake County Forest Preserve to preserve the open space of Fort Sheridan, to maintain its natural environment, its natural habitat, so that it just would not be bulldozed over, by developers. And so they agreed to do that. It was a joint venture. We maintained, then it was a golf course as well. We maintained a golf course, all of the open space of Fort Sheridan, as well as the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
The Fort Sheridan Cemetery. And then at Great Lakes, of course, it was a much more, it was a mammoth of a project because it was the largest naval installation in the world. And Lake County led the national promotional and marketing of Great Lakes to maintain Great Lakes right here in Lake County. Lake County took the lead on that and did a national marketing campaign to preserve Great Lakes, to keep Great Lakes right here in Lake County. And we went and testified before Senate and the Congress, pretty much the same people that we did with Fort Sheridan, just on the Navy side. And ultimately, the U.S. government and the Pentagon agreed to keep Great Lakes here and invested a $2 billion redevelopment and expansion of Great Lakes and combined the hospital, the VA hospital, and the Naval Hospital. Now it's the Lovell Medical Center.
Captain James A. Lovell, Federal
Right.
Healthcare, I guess.
Yeah, and he was an astronaut
Yeah.
as well. And so we've had the opportunity to participate and to have an impact in ultimately the largest economic developments in the history of Lake County. There's no other development larger than, Great Lakes, 20,000 sailors, and it's a city within itself. Actually, it's the largest economic engine in the Midwest. That's why it was so important for us to maintain it, because when Lake County found out, not only was it the largest employer in Lake County, not only was it the largest employer in the state of Illinois, it was the largest employer in the Midwest. And plus, it could possibly jeopardize our military defense, because we had no major military bases to defend the United States other than Great Lakes, none as large as Great Lakes, as well as Fort Sheridan. So we told them that we would also put ourselves at possibly a military vulnerability by giving up Great Lakes and Fort Sheridan.
And this was a concerted effort too, because you had the senators and congressmen involved with that, right?
Correct. And then, just to show you how far back this is, Dr. Brooks, it was Mayor Bobby Thompson.
Okay.
When it started.
Okay.
Yes, when it started. The BET Express.
Right.
Right.
Speaking of Mayor Thompson, I think that was the highway named in his honor there.
Amstuds.
Amstuds,
yes, named after Bobby E. Thompson.
Right,
yes, it is.
Right. Yes. this was so important. There were, I guess, there were one or three choices. There was a Great Lakes, there was San Diego, and I guess the other naval station was in Florida. I guess
Orlando.
Orlando.
And
Yes.
one was in Richmond, Virginia. Right.
And it was a very close vote. I guess was the committee vote of one vote. I believe it was the
Exactly.
Great Lakes one,
Yes.
and we're all wondering why that was because of the weather.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know how Great Lakes got it. You know, instead of San Diego or
Right.
or Fort
Exactly.
Lauderdale, you know, this type of thing.
Yeah.
But so politics does play a part. And matter of fact, in getting the House bill combined, Senator Kirk, I guess, was played a great role there.
Yeah,
right?
he did as well as Senator Dick Durbin
Okay.
as well. Right.
And Dick Durbin is still active
Yes, he is.
in getting.
Yes.
Um,
yes.
So actually, you have proven leadership, I guess, right? And
Yes.
as a Lake County Commissioner, in
Correct.
other words, you're not just sitting there. Even though you're in the minority, you have only one vote. You know, two minorities again, two African Americans out of 21 votes. But you still bring up plans or bring up issues and so forth. You're not just sitting there and say, well, my vote don't count anyway.
Right.
You know, you're very proactive. In other words, I mentioned about three types of people in the in the world. You got those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and then there are those that wonder
Right.
what's happening. You know,
Right.
so you definitely you and I guess Audrey and also I guess Mary is. It was three. It was three of you there. You know, that are responsible for making things happen. You know,
Yeah.
because if you could just sit there and not do anything, you know. But tell us about some more examples of your leadership.
Well, we've also had the good fortune of partnering with the city of Waukegan for the rest of the development of Fountain Square, the hotels at Fountain Square, the restaurants at Fountain Square, and as I mentioned, the Walmart, as well as a brand new hotel going up today. You might have seen it when we were at the King Breakfast at the
Yes.
convention center. Did you see that
Right next
big
door.
development right next door?
Yeah.
That's another hotel that's going up at Fountain Square, which is also in the district. I think the significance of this as well, Dr. Brooks, is that 95% of these accomplishments that we have discussed is in the district.
Okay.
It is in the district that I am responsible for in Lake County government, in which I represent. So it is not that I'm, you know, like some of the other board members try to take credit for projects, you know, on the
Yeah.
other side of the county. These are successes right there in the district. Great Lakes Naval Base is in the district. The Walmart is in the district. The Amazon is in the district. The Lake County Health Department clinic is in the district. The Greenbelt Cultural Center is in the district. The Hervey Village development is in the district.
Okay.
So these are hands-on accomplishments that we have had the good fortune to implement in our communities, in our own community. So I have proven myself in that capacity with solid, sustainable accomplishments that are in the district of the constituents in which I represent.
The Lake County Housing Authority
Yeah.
reached out, I guess, and what project is that? A
The Marion Jones.
$30 million, a $50 million project?
About between 30 and 40.
30 and 40 million. And just passing by, it looks like it's going to be, and from the pictures that we have observed before the groundbreaking, It's going to be a fantastic project.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a phenomenal project. Another one of the largest, certainly, housing developments in the city of North Chicago.
Oh, no doubt.
And the county is happy to participate with that because we're responsible for maintaining 14th Street as well. So we will be handling all of the road improvements that are going to be necessary there, 14th and Dugdale down past 14th and Lewis, and so on and so forth. Yes.
You mentioned about the health clinic in North Chicago on 14th Street. I wonder how actively that's been utilized by the citizens of North Chicago.
It is very much utilized. It is one of our busiest clinics in the county as far as the extension clinics.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and that's even with the main facility being there at Belvedere and Keller, and then on Grand Avenue as well. And I was the first county board member to propose that the Lake County Health Department provide treatment to those citizens with HIV and AIDS as well. I was the first county board member to propose that, and the health department provides that even today because of my recommendation as well. Yes, and with the county, I have also had the opportunity to institute the debt collection program, where the county, Lake County, had millions of dollars in debt that we were not collecting. So I recommended a administrative debt collection process, which now generates millions of dollars in revenues. I also proposed the consolidated purchasing process of Lake County, which is, for example, if we're going out to bid for computers, let's find out what other sister counties and what other municipalities are also looking for computers, and we can consolidate our bid for computers at a cheaper price because we have a consolidation of the local municipalities partnering with the counties, and then we get the products and services at a lower rate. I propose that as well. Also, the e-government, where we provide services through the county, and I did that through the National Association of Counties. We provide a number of services electronically now that you can sit at home on your computer and pull up, you know, a copy of your tax bill or your deed or, you know, those services that you used to have to go downtown to get and find a parking space and all of that. Now you can pull it up on your computer.
Right. You also mentioned why you were on the county board discount card that that you had proposed while you were, I guess, while you were president of the National
Association of Counties.
Yes. Right.
Yes, and this is the first and only project that is administered directly by county board members. All of the other services are administered by the staff.
Okay, I got you.
This particular one, county board members actually provide the discount prescription drug cards so that seniors can get their prescription drugs at a discount. And the cards are free, and it guarantees 20 to 30% off of your standard prescription drugs. I was the first one to introduce that.
And when is it highly used now?
Yes. Oh, most thousands of Lake County. And then I introduced the dental card as well, so that you get seniors get cheaper dental costs as well when they go to the dentist.
So what you have done is proven to the county that you're not just keeping the seat warm there, you're making things happen.
Yes, exactly.
And
right.
that's what you have to have. Tell us, and also you're active in the community. Tell us about some of your community. And I guess the first one is that you're pastor of a church, and it's the Restoration Baptist Church. Tell us about the history of that. How long have you been pastoring?
Been pastoring at Restoration going on my 5th year now.
And you located?
We're located at 414 South Lewis in Park Place, Waukegan Township's Park Place facility right there at 414 South Lewis Avenue off of Belvedere and Lewis.
Oh, yes.
Right there. And yes, we have services there every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. And there, we come to worship and leave to serve in that capacity. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, as I mentioned, Afrofest. We've been doing that for better than 30 years now as well. And we give away book bags to kids who need book bags and school supplies for kids, because it's always the 3rd Saturday in August, which tends to be the last weekend before the kids go back to school. So we provide book bags and school supplies for kids who do not have adequate school supplies. We do that at Afrofest. And also, we have over 36 performances, gospel, jazz, blues, R&B, hip hop.
And all of this is free to the community then, right?
Yes, all free to the community. Yes, yeah. I try to give back to the community.
This is very important.
Yeah. Then the Salute to Gospel as well is a concert that I started 34 years ago. This is the 34th anniversary. And you'll see when you go, this is the 34th anniversary of the Salute to Gospel by the College of Lake County.
Now, this is not free, though.
No, this is not free.
Okay.
And this will be at the Genesee Theater on Saturday, February 24th. And that's good to see that these activities are still going strong, that you had a hand in, their beginnings.
Yeah. It is great. Wife and I, we already have our tickets.
That's it. That's it.
Well, in advance to show you how great it is. Now, let's talk about your speaking engagement. You also was a keynote speaker at the National Democratic Convention in 2004.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that experience.
Boston, Massachusetts.
As they saying, and people from Boston. As they say, people from that area.
Right.
Tell us about that.
It was one of the greatest activities of my career. 2004, the Democratic National Convention was in Boston, Massachusetts. It was the first national platform, not only for myself, but also for then Senator Barack Obama.
Oh.
Yes, that was his first national speech in 2004 as well. And then, of course, he went on to, become president.
Yeah, he was, you're part of a committee that invited him to, North Chicago, I think, when he was senator there. But not knowing that he'll use as a platform to be president.
Exactly, and we had him in Flanagan's. The
that was a
Democratic Party used to meet in the basement. That's when we were small then.
right.
In the basement of Flanagan. You remember how tight that was.
Yeah.
And then, yes, you're right. Then Senator Barack Obama came and greeted us there. He later came on to Waukegan City Hall as well. You remember we had a fundraiser for him. Frank Walker had a fundraiser for him.
At his home.
At his home, right, as well. So then he began to make acquaintances here with us in Lake County. Right.
I know every attempt annually made, I guess, the Super Bowl, Super Bowl Sunday, I guess, at the Forest Preserve. You always have a recognition of African American history. That as the county, the Forest Preserves
Right.
venture there, and that's always successful too.
Yes, yes, it's one of the longest run. Audrey Nixon started that
Okay.
40 years ago.
Right. Now that's in addition. You mentioned about making things happen.
Right.
Annually, you have the African American tribute for the county board. I think in February, the first meeting in February
Right.
is normally.
Right.
I guess it's
Black
still
History Profiles in Excellence.
Is it still
the Black
happening?
History Program, yes, at the Greenbelt Cultural
Well, that
Center.
one, but I mean the county board, a luncheon. You know, the luncheon
yeah.
you have.
Yes, right. And I remember you were
Lake County Relations and Task Force.
exactly
In
yeah.
conjunction with the county board.
Sure. You came in and made history with that. That was the first time the county board ever, provided that type of activity. And you started the county in getting into diversity and inclusion. And we appreciate that. I remember that. I remember the doors we had to knock down to get that to happen.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So I just want to the public to know that even though it's only two of you there, three at that time, you're making things happen. You're not just sitting there hoping things happen.
There you go.
And
Exactly.
you're not going to have.
Exactly.
Well, we let's see. You had now. Tell us about your. Let's see. Appeared at CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, C-SPAN, and CNN, and National Press Club. You appeared with those, or with Obama, or did you appear yourself?
I appeared myself on most of those occasions, on most of those television appearances. I was appearing on behalf of the National Association of Counties as its president. So
Okay.
I was speaking
There we go.
from the capacity, speaking for all the counties in the United States at that time. So that's why it was covered by so many different networks. And in that day, it was mostly covered by C-SPAN. You remember when everybody used to watch C-SPAN?
Right.
Right, and a lot of it came on C-SPAN, and then other national networks picked up on it when we did a national affordable housing initiative as well, promoting affordable housing across the nation, that people should be able to reside in the communities that they work.
Okay.
Usually you can afford to live in one community, but you go to work
That's right.
in another community. So we were trying to bridge the gap that people should be able to live where they work. We did that. We also instituted one of the first initiatives on mental health treatment for the inmates in the jail. We came to find out that a third of the inmates and the reason it was a county issue, because most counties have county jails.
Right.
They go to the county jail. And so the 30% of county jail inmates have a mental disability, but they were not receiving medication for their mental disability.
Okay.
So we proposed that the mental inmates, that 30%, be given the adequate mental prescription drugs necessary to help cure their mental illness as well. Yeah, we were the first to do that.
Yeah, you have, what do you have on that? You have a drug court, the Veterans Court, and I guess the mental health court too.
Mental health, correct.
And that,
Correct.
I think it was a one of the judges that just passed away, Judge Phillips, I guess, was very active in these courts too, you know. But tell us about, since we mentioned courts, and you mentioned about bridging the gap. Tell us about the construction that's going on County Street there. Is that to increase the participation by the jails, or is that the court building?
It is a
What expansion is that?
judicial facility.
Oh, okay.
And the reason it is called a judicial facility is because it will contain several different departments of the judiciary.
Okay.
It will be some additional court space. It will be some additional state's attorney's office space. It will be some additional public defender space as well. So also the court services, Department of Court Services as well. So it will be also some conference rooms, so attorneys and clients can have a private conference room to talk in while they go into court to deliberate, and then sometimes the attorney needs to come out and talk with his client, so have private conference rooms for that as well. So it is a judicial facility is what it is. It is not a extension of the jail. Right, what we did with the jail now is we built the work release program to curb the enrollment in the Lake County Jail. Whereas for those offenders with light offenses, with very minimal offenses, they can go to work every day and then come back and spend the night in the work release facility.
Is that across the street then?
It is actually, it's on the other side of the street, not County Street, on the Martin Luther King side of County Street, of that street. And so, you can go to work and do all your normal daily activities, but you must come and go to sleep in the work release facility. But you can still go to work every day. Yeah, that was supposed to pull out the overcrowding in the county jail. That's what it was. But see, the snitch with that was, or the glitch was, that you don't know how the judges are going to sentence people. You don't know if they're going to sentence them to jail or sentence them to the work release. And we couldn't think that just because we built a work release facility, that don't mean the judge is going to sentence them to work release. Because the judges made it known to us that we can't tell them how to sentence.
So it's still a felony, right?
Yeah.
Still a felony.
Yes, right. So the judges let us know that in no way should we feel that just because we built a work release that everyone's going to be sentenced to that, because it wasn't the case. Right.
Is there any type of tribute that's going to, as you know, that's going to be for Archie Nixon, recognizing her for her 34 years with the county?
Yes, I know. Aside from the tribute, the internal tributes that they have. I know this year I dedicated Afrofest, Lake County Afrofest, to Audrey Nixon.
Well, I know the North Chicago Library donated a
room.
A room.
Right.
What the technology room there,
right.
In remembrance of her.
Right. So, and I'm not sure if the city of North Chicago is going to do a street or, I know there's been some discussion about the city of North Chicago maybe doing a street as well.
You mentioned Greenbelt Culture Center is.
Yes. Yes. The Greenbelt, they named a bench after her. Were you there? Were you there?
I heard about it.
Okay. Yeah. They named a bench. So we're going to try to see if we can get the building that the bench sits in the near future.
Well, You're there to make things happen.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
and not
right.
just watch things happen. Yeah, yeah, that would be a great tribute.
Right.
Good.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Well, it was so the audience would know on the Great Lakes. It's the largest training center in the world,
Yes.
and the only training center, I guess, that trains men and women. They have to come through Great Lakes.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they come through a building known as the Golden 13.
Mm-hmm.
And the Golden 13 was a group of just happened to be African American officers that made the highest score ever been made in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
After Truman, made his decision to integrate the workplace, workforce, and so forth. So they named the Golden 13 that every sailor have to be aware of it because they have to go through there. That's amazing.
Yes, 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 it is. And now you might remember we were talking about the Black History program.
Okay.
You remember a few years ago, well, a lot of years ago, we had Carl Brashear here.
Okay.
Remember Carl Brashear?
Yeah.
Was one of the first African American deep sea divers in the history of the U.S. Navy.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
We honored him. We had him come in. He was our guest speaker that year as well. And then they made the movie about him. Cuba Gooding Jr. played him in the movie as well. So, we have always tried, to preserve the historical legacies of the various ethnicities.
Yeah, the first person to come from the hub of a ship, the mess attendant, shot down several Japanese planes.
Yeah.
They named some buildings after him at the Great Lakes too. What's his name? The name should automatically pop up. He had a automatically. They say when you get old like I am, that three things get away from you. The first thing that goes is a memory. I don't remember the other two. So what is this?
That was really good.
Anyway, I thought that since we approaching African American History Month, I just thought I would remember that we got history right here in Lake County, right here at Great Lakes, and that we it's not in our history books, and we just have to get it in a piecemeal.
Exactly. That's what my mom, remember we were talking, she was the first African American history teacher.
Okay.
Taught African American history, and she always taught me, she said, you have to look at the word history. And the word history is his story.
Okay.
Whoever authors the story usually projects themselves as the main characters within the story because they are authoring the story. And so since we were not allowed to read or write, remember it was illegal to teach us to read or write. Therefore, we were not able to chronicle our own history. It was his story.
Okay, right, exactly.
So that's why people, want to know, why do you celebrate it? Because it has been neglected, and omitted from the history books all these years. So now we want to celebrate, our own history sometime.
Well, it's I think there's a law that passed that the history about the Holocaust is taught in the schools, but not the history of the slavery. So I don't know, but I guess we have to keep working on it, and the more people. And I think one thing, I know we're getting away from the county here. We want to get this in here while we can. This is African American History Month, in February. That people checking about where they come from. Now, what is it?
The ancestry
websites
and whatnot.
And finding out that they're mixed up at all types.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
And
they say all of us are mixed with something.
Right. We're made from
yeah.
all created from. By the way, mentioned by creation. I want to emphasize that you're pastor from the Restoration Baptist Church, and also your father was a minister too, right?
Yes. He's a pastor of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, 37 and a half years.
37 and a half.
Yes, 37 and a half. And then my mother, of course, was a musician there as well.
Right.
Well,
this is great. I want to thank you very much again, Pastor Kyle.
Thank you for the invitation.
And for taking time literally from your busy schedule to be with us tonight to let Lake County know that you are a seasoned county board member.
Thank you.
And this is the last word. The election is Tuesday, March the 20th, 2018.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Pastor Angelo Kyle, candidate for the Lake County Board, District 14, a seat that was vacated by Audrey Nixon when she passed away last April of 2017. This has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.